Hey everyone, and welcome back. You ready to dive into something pretty wild? We're tackling the holographic universe today.
Yeah, this one's a real head trip.
We've got Michael Talbot's book, The Holographic Universe, to guide us.
Oh, and that Scientific American article, Is Our Universe a Hologram? That was a good one.
So strap in, because we're going to try to figure out if our brains work like holograms.
And whether our memories are floating around in some kind of cosmic soup.
And the big one, the one that'll really bake your noodle.
Yeah.
Is reality itself just a holographic projection?
Big questions, but luckily, we've got some brilliant minds to help us unpack them.
Yeah, like physicist David Bohm.
And neurophysiologist Carl Pribram.
What's crazy is they both came up with this holographic idea independently.
Working in totally different fields, too.
It's like finding two halves of a puzzle that fit perfectly.
Hmm.
But let's start with Bohm. He was really wrestling with the weirdness of quantum physics.
Yeah, like how can a particle be a wave and a particle at the same time?
It's enough to make your head spin.
And then there's that whole spooky action at a distance thing.
Where particles are linked even when they're miles apart. It's like they're communicating faster than the speed of light.
Right. It just doesn't make sense according to our normal understanding of physics.
So Bohm came up with this radical idea. He called it the implicate order.
Basically, he imagined this deeper, hidden reality, a vast ocean of potential where everything's interconnected.
Kind of like a cosmic blueprint.
Exactly. And from this implicate order, our physical world emerges.
Like a holographic projection?
You got it. He called this the explicate order, the world we experience with our senses.
Okay, so it's like a hologram where the whole image is contained in every part of the film.
Precisely. Even a tiny fragment can recreate the whole picture.
So Bohm's saying that our reality might just be a projection from this deeper, more fundamental level of existence.
A level where everything's interconnected, constantly in flux.
Mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
And here's where it gets even wilder. Pribram, the neurophysiologist, was studying memory and vision.
And he was puzzled by how memories are stored in the brain.
Yeah, they don't seem to be located in any one specific spot.
It's more like they're distributed throughout the entire brain.
Which is exactly how a hologram works.
Right. Each part contains the information for the whole image.
So Pribram proposed that the brain itself functions like a hologram.
Storing information in these complex interference patterns.
Which would explain why we can remember things even if part of our brain is damaged.
The memory's not localized, it's spread out.
And that's not all. There were these experiments with salamanders.
Oh yeah, the ones where they scrambled their brains.
Exactly. And guess what? The salamanders still function perfectly.
Their memories were intact even though their brains were a mess.
It's like their brains were storing information holographically.
So even when the physical structure was disrupted, the information remained.
So what if both the universe and our brains work on this holographic principle? That would mean...
It would mean everything we thought we knew about reality could be wrong.
It's a lot to take in, that's for sure.
But we're just getting started. And what if all this holographic idea, it explains those things we usually call paranormal?
Okay, like what you're going about telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy, or even psychokinesis, moving stuff with your mind.
So you're saying that instead of being supernatural,
they might be totally natural if everything's really connected, like Bohm's implicate order?
I see. So it's not like sending signals through space.
It's more like everything's already entangled, part of the same web.
So if you tug on one part of the web...
the whole thing vibrates.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Talbot, in his book, he talks about this other researcher.
Oh yeah, Dr. Stanislav Grof, right.
Yes. He studied altered states of consciousness.
Through meditation, psychedelics, things like that.
And what's crazy is the people in these altered states, they all described similar experiences.
Yeah, like seeing those archetypes, those universal symbols that pop up in all these different cultures.
Right, or feeling a sense of oneness with everything.
Or even having memories that seem to be from past lives.
Whoa, okay, so hold on. Are you saying those altered states could be like glimpses into that deeper holographic level?
Yeah.
The one where our usual ideas of space and time break down.
That's what Talbot suggests. It's a pretty mind-blowing idea, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it actually lines up with what a lot of spiritual traditions have been saying for ages.
That reality is way more fluid and interconnected than we think.
But then what about miracles? Things that seem impossible, like defying the laws of science.
Talbot addresses that too. He talks about cases of spontaneous remission, where people with terminal illnesses just suddenly recover.
That's amazing. And he also talks about the placebo effect.
Where just believing in a treatment can create actual physical changes.
So if the mind has that much power, it makes you wonder.
About the limits of human potential, right?
Exactly. And then there are those experiences, the OBEs and NDEs.
Out-of-body and near-death experiences.
People describe perceiving the world from outside their bodies.
Floating above scenes, seeing things they shouldn't be able to see.
And what's fascinating is those NDE accounts, they're remarkably similar.
Across different cultures, different time periods.
People talk about going through a tunnel, having a life review, meeting deceased loved ones.
Feeling an incredible sense of peace and love.
Could those experiences be glimpses of a holographic afterlife?
A realm shaped by the consciousness of everyone who enters it.
It's a pretty profound thought. And Talbot really explores that idea.
He talks about research suggesting that the afterlife, as described in NDEs,
It might actually be a world of thought forms, landscapes, structures,
created by the minds of the people who inhabit it.
which raises a huge question. If consciousness can create reality, even in an afterlife,
Then what does that mean for our reality, here and now?
yeah, does reality shape our thoughts, or do our thoughts shape reality?
And if our thoughts can influence reality?
Do we have a say in our own destiny? It's like free will versus fate.
Talbot also looks at reincarnation research to explore this,
Specifically the work of Dr. Ian Stevenson.
who documented cases of children remembering past lives,
And these memories were actually verifiable,
suggesting that consciousness might continue after death.
and even choose the circumstances of its next life.
It's a fascinating concept, the idea that we might play a role in shaping our own destiny.
And what about those stories of poltergeists? Objects moving on their own, weird noises.
Those sudden bursts of unexplained activity, could that be the unconscious mind influencing reality?
Talbot points out that poltergeist stuff often happens around people who are going through some serious emotional turmoil.
Maybe there's a link between our deepest emotions and that psychokinetic energy.
It seems like the more we dig into this holographic universe idea,
The more questions we uncover,
and the more we realize how much potential consciousness might have.
it's like peeling back layers of an onion.
Or those Russian nesting dolls, one mystery inside another.
And we can't forget about those other seemingly miraculous events.
The ones that just defy all logic. People walking on fire, surviving crazy injuries.
What if those are even more examples of belief and intention influencing reality at a really fundamental level?
The holographic universe. It's like a vast, unexplored frontier of possibilities. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of mind-bending stuff. But if this holographic universe idea is really true,
If it's more than just a cool theory.
then it means we're probably only seeing a tiny fraction of reality, right?
Yeah. Our senses, they're pretty limited.
Like, remember that example Talbot uses about insects?
Oh, yeah. How they see the world so differently from us.
A spider web might look plain to us.
But an insect that can see ultraviolet light, it sees this whole vibrant, colorful structure,
It's wild. Like, we're all tuned into different channels of reality.
picking up different frequencies,
What if there's a whole spectrum of information out there that we're just missing?
like a hidden dimension right in front of us.
Speaking of hidden things, what about the human aura?
That energy field, some people say, surrounds the body.
Is that part of this hidden reality?
A lot of cultures describe this aura, this energy field.
Almost like a halo of light.
Most people can't see it, but some claim they can.
Talbot actually interviewed people who say they see auras.
Oh, wow. What did they say?
They describe seeing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Like what?
Colors, shapes, even three-dimensional images within the aura.
Wow. And here's the thing. A lot of these aura seers,
They describe it in terms of frequencies and vibrations.
which makes total sense if reality is a holographic projection.
From a deeper level of vibrating energy.
Right, it all ties together.
So it's like our physical bodies are just the tip of the iceberg.
There's this whole other level of energy extending beyond what we can normally see.
And if we buy into this holographic universe idea,
Then the idea of subtle energy fields actually influencing reality, it's not so far-fetched.
like acupuncture, for example,
Yeah, based on stimulating certain points on the body
to affect the flow of qi or energy.
and promote healing.
Talbot even talks about Dr. Valerie Hunt's research.
Oh, yeah. She used those special instruments to measure the human energy field.
What did she find?
Her research showed that the energy field responds to stimuli even before the brain does.
Whoa, hold on. So it's like the energy field is picking up information from a deeper level.
Beyond our normal senses.
So then, where does the mind actually reside? Is it just in the brain?
Or is it something bigger, more connected to this energy field?
Makes you think, what if our minds are like holographic receivers
Picking up frequencies from this deeper, interconnected reality.
and creating our own perceptions based on those frequencies?
It's a wild thought for sure.
So if that's true, What does it mean for science?
Can science really stick to this purely objective view of reality?
If we're all interconnected participants in a universe that's fundamentally subjective,
That's the challenge Talbot throws down. He says science needs to evolve
to include a more participatory approach,
to recognize the connection between the observer and the observed.
especially when we're dealing with things like consciousness and paranormal phenomena.
We can't just ignore those things.
And Talbot says we need to expand our idea of scientific evidence.
It's not just about what we can measure and quantify.
It's also about subjective experiences, intuitive insights.
If reality is ultimately a projection of consciousness,
Then ignoring the subjective realm means missing a huge part of the picture.
right, it's like trying to understand a movie by only analyzing the film strip
But you need the projector, the light, the screen.
to really experience the full picture.
Exactly. So for you listening right now, what if reality is more flexible, more moldable than we think?
What if our thoughts and beliefs really do have a bigger impact than we ever imagined?
The holographic universe theory? It blows open the doors of possibility
Gives us a new way to understand those unexplained phenomena.
and suggests we might have way more potential than we realize
It's a call to question everything we think we know.
about reality, about consciousness, about our place in the universe.
It's like we've been given these new glasses.
And suddenly, everything looks different.
It's exciting, it's a little scary, and it definitely makes you want to explore more.
So keep questioning, keep exploring, and who knows,
Maybe you'll discover something truly amazing.
in this incredible holographic universe. We'll see you next time, deep divers.